Welcome, everybody, to Real Time Financial Insights for a Growing Business, brought to you by Digits and Hiline. To get started, everybody, we're going to do a quick round of intros. Matt Gardner, co founder and CEO of Hiline. I will be your humble MC for the day. Rob and Eric, you want to do quick intros and bios for yourselves?
Absolutely. My name is Rob. I lead the go-to-market teams at Digits, which basically just means I work with wonderful, forward-looking accounting firms like Matt and the Highline team for most of my day, which ends up being pretty delightful for me.
You focus on bringing the awesome Digits platform to market. That's the gig. All right, Eric.
Hey everyone, my name is Eric Cohen. I'm the head of technology here at Highline, in charge of our tech stack and everything else here, all tech stuff. And I've been with Highline now for going on over 7 years.
Eric's one of our OGs at Highline. We've been at this together almost since the beginning.
Oh yeah.
Okay. So, agenda for today, everybody. We're going to talk about why we close the books 12 times a year. Maybe something you've thought about or not thought about. We're going to dive into that. Why 90% accuracy equates to faster decisions. We're going to talk about the Highline and Digits partnership and how we're bringing Digits software platform and Highline's financial operations muscle to market together. The most important part of the webinar is going to be a live demo that Eric's going to take us through and a little bit of admin. We're going to do live Q&A at the end. So if you have questions, feel free to drop them in the Q&A chat, and we'll try to get through as many as we can before the session's over. Okay, so let's first talk about catching the AI wave. AI has become super buzzy in everybody's world, right? So I want to speak about it from the finance and accounting perspective. But Rob is somebody leading a go-to-market team, building AI to support the ecosystem. Like, what are you guys seeing? How do you think about what's happening in AI right now?
Yeah, it's a really, really interesting space because every single time you look at the news when you wake up in the morning, there's a new headline of some new thing happening. And it admittedly, even for someone who's working directly in the space, is sometimes hard to keep up with. But I think one thing that's clear is it's definitely going to augment and enhance a bunch of workflows across a ton of industries. And now our specific focus is very much in accounting and finance, and that's where we apply our expertise. At Digits, we've actually had a machine learning team for over 6 years at the company, and we have 18 live models that do a myriad of different actions within the accounting workflow. But at the end of the day, as many models as you put together and as beautiful of like a symphony of sound you can make with a bunch of those automations, there's still a deep human element in many of these workflows across every industry, but specifically in accounting. Not while sure it's many thousands years old as a profession and is very rules oriented, naturally you would think, oh my gosh, this is ripe for automation, which you're not wrong. But I think what gets left out of that discussion really frequently is that downstream human element that goes into not only understanding the business owner's intent and what they're purchasing and the finances, but also how to then apply learnings from accounting to drive businesses forward in a positive way. And that's why we've really loved partnering with Highline, because their focus is very much on this human element of how we work together and allows us to really focus on bringing the best of the technology side to the market efficiently.
Yep, that's well said. I think, from the finance and accounting perspective, I think the most relevant point that I think we can make today is, I think the best use case for AI, there's two really good use cases right now that are relevant. One is leveraging your data to get smarter and get smarter faster. And number two is eliminating like monotonous workflows that can kind of slow down the data capture. So, for finance and accounting, what that means is your general ledger, your financial statements, like it's all a database. And how you can think about writing the AI way for finance and accounting is you want to figure out how to automate and streamline as many of the workflows for how data and transactions get in the system. And that's what Highline is really good at, is designing the plumbing and being the conductor of the systems to enable that to happen. When that happens, you can get access to your financial data more real time. And if you can get access to it real time, we can visualize in a tool like Digits. So what that basically enables you to do is stay ahead of the game and get a heck of a lot smarter about your business, make more real-time decisions. I know everybody's feeling a sense of urgency, like this tech wave is building. How do I tackle it from my specific industry? I can't exactly tell you how your industry is going to be able to use AI and then, but I can tell you that finance and accounting is pretty industry agnostic, and there are a lot of tools out there that can help you get smarter about how you leverage your financial data. And there is a cost to waiting if you don't lean in and adopt it now. I just think you're going to be making decisions a bit slower than the folks you're competing with in the market. So to that end, there's this game I've been playing internally with myself, but also with our team, and it's the question about like why, like at what point in history did we decide? Eric's laughing because Eric, I've been playing this game with Eric a lot. At what point in history did we decide that we were going to close the books 12 times a year? Whatever it was, maybe it was 100 years ago, 150 years ago, like some group of people sat down and decided that we were going to do it monthly. P&Ls and balance sheets were going to be table stakes for how you read and interpreted financial information. And I find myself wondering, if you really thought about product market fit, if you really thought about like what does the end customer for Highline and Digits really care about, if you ask them how often they want to get access to their financial statements, Eric, what do you think the average business owner would say
Right now.
right now? Maybe not right now. Maybe it's today. Maybe it's whenever I want to, but it's probably not every month. And if you
Yep.
asked the average business owner what format they want to consume their financial performance for their business, Rob, what do you think they're going to say? P&Ls and balance sheets, or are they going to say something else?
They are absolutely not going to say a static P&L that doesn't answer any of my questions.
Right. So I would just reflect on how we got to this point as an industry, and we're sending things 3 to 4 weeks in arrears, right? Like the month is closed, 2, 3 weeks later, you get your static P&L, you get your static balance sheet. You only get information to make decisions once a month. It's been happening that way for a really long time, and I don't think most business owners and operators are like super thrilled about the way that that works. I think it's kind of just continues to be a weak spot in the business. So, you know, when that happens, I think the small business owner and operator is the one who suffers because you're just not getting what you need real time. You're not getting the information in a format that you can consume. Sure, P&Ls and balance sheets matter, and yes, every 12 every month, 12 times a year, you probably got to have a P&L to balance sheet because you have stakeholders, you have reasons to benchmark performance. But we can do a heck of a lot better as an industry and as a company. And I think Digits has finally built us a platform that allows us to visualize that in a way that gives you metrics and benchmarks that help you make a decision and keep a pulse on how the business is going, connects to the P&Ls and the balance sheets and all the financial statements you're used to seeing, but I think it's in a much more consumable way. So the point is, if you can automate more of the front end of the system, if you can work with somebody that knows how to design and architect the plumbing to make your operations of finance and accounting work better, and if you can organize and keep your data clean, then you can leverage a tool like Digits to get access to what you need more real time. So, ultimately, we're here because we think accounting is broken and we're working with Digits to try to fix it. I spent almost 10 years in accounting, 10 years in public accounting. During that time, a lot of the inspiration for Highline and what we were building and the vision for what I think the industry could be came from everything that I saw was broken. 30, 40 years behind the times, in my opinion. So, what's the old way look like? Waiting 3 weeks for last month's financial, indecipherable reports that are in Excel formats, accountants buried in manual data entry, so unable to give you visibility and attention to the things you care most about, focused on solving your actual pain points, no real-time insights to support decision making, outdated technology. Most of it was built in the 1950s, 1960s. The only way to scale it, whether you outsource your finance and accounting team or you do it in-house, is to hire more people because just compounding problems and inefficiencies. So the new model that we're very much building, we're very much in the early innings of thinking about how this can work, and especially work for companies of all different scales. You know, we want to get and work towards materially accurate financials. Let's say 90% accuracy on a daily, every other day, weekly basis. real-time dashboards that give you insights to 90% directionally accurate information whenever you feel like you need access to it. AI-powered insights that help you kind of self-serve and understand what's happening inside the business without having to ask the question. Being able to chat with an AI-enabled chatbot that kind of can like have a conversation with you and help you get smarter about your business. And having your accounting team, whether it's Highline or somebody else, focusing on strategy, advisory, and the things that actually are causing you pain in your business, like let's focus more time and attention on that. And let's envision what scalable financial operations looks like in the modern world because we're very much already there.
One thing I would add into that really quick, Matt, that kind of like layers the brokenness of it. And this is a problem for both accounting firms and also business owners, is that part of it where it's like accounting is broken. It's also, you layer in, it's very much like a technology has kind of like failed this part of the market a little bit as well. Because what's happened over time is you as the business owner end up needing like 15 different online tools in order to actually run your business. So then for you, you just get stretched in all these different areas, whether it's the business owner, the accounting firm, whoever. So to get your business, you're like, well, I know how much money is in my bank account, but to really have a full like understanding of the business, I have to go to these 5, 10 different tools to pull in all this information that just in general is like it's honestly intimidating for most folks to be able to do. And it's also pretty tedious, as we talked about before. And so as Digits thinks about this, so much of it is also related to how do we bring these things in a more centralized place to enable founders and business owners to see all of it in one place versus needing to like, cool, I'm going to cobble data from all these sources into Excel and run a pivot table and see if I can get it to work. That's just not what the future of all this is going to look like. And so how do we then not only build software, but partner with the more forward-looking tools in the market on the financial and money movement side of things to build a more cohesive view of a business versus forcing you down the path of a bunch of different areas?
It's well said. And, that's what Digits and Highland have partnered to do. We think the future of small business finance is here. We think it's long overdue. We think the world deserves better. And we've set out to kind of fix accounting together. So it's a little bit of a teaser about what Digits dashboard looks. You'll get a live view in a few moments. But Highline, I'm pleased to announce Highline is the first U.S. accounting firm to enter into an enterprise Digits license agreement. This is
Whoop,
like
whoop.
the epitome. Whoop, whoop. That's right. I don't think I still have the confetti. Oh, I do have the
Oh,
confetti
there we
click.
go. That's
There we go.
exciting.
So it's the epitome of AI powered automation meeting scalable financial experience and expertise, financial operations. And at Highline, we're offering all of our accounting clients Digits as part of their standard basic offering with us moving forward. So the why change now? Well, I think if you're honest with yourself, I think that you probably are having all these feelings deep down about why this part of your business feels so hard and feels so scary, right? So like the reality of running a modern business right now, customer demands are like I don't think they've ever been more immediate. All of your customers are requiring almost instant responses. The market is shifting around us because of a technology inflection point at like unprecedented speeds. Business models are having to pivot more frequently than ever because of technology, and competition is everywhere. It's never been easier to start a business. So you need to be agile. You need to be able to get smarter about your business real time. Speed matters. You're missing opportunities to make meaningful decisions if you're waiting for the month to close out and to get your financial reports every 2 to 3 weeks. Kind of like banned the concept of month end close inside the company. Eric's heard me talk about this many, many times over the years. Daily financial insights, even if they're not perfect, are always going to give you a competitive advantage. 90% accurate is always better than 100% accuracy later. And you really need to be thinking about financial operations that scales with your business. It's not just financial operations, that's every part of your business. You need to be thinking about how do we streamline it to make it as efficient and scalable as possible. And finance and accounting is like one of those cornerstones, most important pillars that you need to have in place for you to run a successful business. So Rob, I'm going to turn it over to you, man. Let's give us a bit more of a primer on Digits and how this all came to be.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, that last slide actually leads in really funnily almost into Digit's founding story as a company. So I mentioned this earlier, but we've been around for about 6 years. So we're not strangers to automating accounting and finance. But we were actually born out of our founder's pain, founding his last two companies. One sold to Box and one sold to Twitter. And in both of those experiences, he was just astonished at the data quality difference between product and engineering, which it's like you could see with Google Analytics, like who's on my website, what buttons are they clicking. Everything is in real time. And then everything on the finance and operations side of the business was 30, 45 days late, and it came in a static P&L that didn't actually answer any of his questions as a business owner. It was like, what is going on here? Like, how do we fix this? And so, 6 years later, we're continuing to build, but excuse me, we're at a point where we're just super, super excited to bring this to market, to bring that reality that Jeff felt as that, visceral pain as a business owner to everyone. Something I think about pretty frequently. It was I'm trying to remember, it might have been at like the AICPA's conference recently. They were talking about how
Digital
every
CPA.
business owner could, would benefit from getting like a budget or like a budget to actual. But it's pretty expensive to provide and it requires quite a bit of human labor. And so as we think about these things and these things become real time, we can start to lower a lot of barriers to entry to access the financials and really open up the pie to all these things that are going to be deeply valuable for business owners. And so just super excited to keep building together. There's a couple
Yeah,
more.
you've been
Next slide.
building over a period of time. Like how with the value, the dollar value of the transactions you've trained all 18 of your models on to get them really smart and souped up, right? You were like almost $1 trillion, getting close.
It's really close. Yeah, I think what the last count was close to 800 billion transactions that we've
800
trained across
billion.
all of our 18 models. And it's
Yeah.
pretty incredible. These models, you see kind of like the one-off, the chat GPTs and the other pieces, but the really large unlock of all of this is when the models work together with each other versus using them for very bespoke pieces. Because then what you can do is call upon specific models to achieve these downstream outcomes you're looking for. So a great example is we have quite a few models that do they have vendor extraction. So maybe you're traveling to like New Hampshire or something along those lines and you shop at a brand new coffee shop that has a super opaque name. That immediately becomes kind of like a question mark for an accountant or bookkeeper on the back end. And in that world, we're actually able to leverage machine learning and what we call a similar, not what we call, what the industry calls a similarity model that then finds similar transactions and is able to match it appropriately. And what that then allows you to do is pop over the details around who that vendor is, the restaurant, the description of it, and put it into a categorization model that then will be like, great, based on your chart of accounts and your P&L, this is where it should go. And so the marriage of all these models, why I kind of called it like a symphony of models earlier, is they all work together in order to achieve the end outcome. And what's really great about that is this isn't limited to a specific type of business. Digits is really built for any business that wants deeper visibility into their finances. And so a lot of what you'll see when Eric talks is that dashboarding side of it, that visualization, that ability for you to follow your own curiosity as a business owner, which just like for, I mean, not, I was going to say for better or worse, but it's mostly for worse, is like very close to impossible to do inside of something like QuickBooks today for a business owner. And so at the end of the day, what we want to do is unlock that value you've started these businesses and how do we help you have the insights to run it more effectively. So from there, thinking about like the problems that Digit solves as a business, I talked about some of Jeff's founding story. This really and all these last two things kind of like bleed together into the roadmap and what problems we solve. But ultimately, the way that Digits looks at this is two core functions. So we all know there's a lot that is automatable within the accounting world, but you can look at and think about our roadmap in two different ways almost. We have the consumer design driven approach, which you'll see. So we want to make this much easier, less clunky for you to dive into and understand your finances. And we're going to continue to focus on that for the business owner. But what we don't want to do is bring through all of the complexity of accounting. You need to balance those two things to allow the complexity of the accounting, but also answer the founder's questions and not make you feel like you have to like, wow, I have to go get a CPA in order to understand what I'm being sent. And so in
Mhm.
that world, our roadmap is going to keep driving us towards automation of these accounting workflows. We've built this full accounting platform that works all the way from categorization through models, all the way through double checking and reviewing the books and doing quality control, things along those lines. And these are all things that we will bring to Highline in order to continue to automate those processes. And then on the back end, we'll bring more visually rich and differentiated ways to view the financials. And so we're just deeply excited to continue to partner with business owners and accounting firms, because really it's one of those things with, what's the mantra? It's like crap data in, crap data out. Like, you really need to marry those two things together. So you have an accounting firm that's really focused on getting clean data, but then you have a platform that you can experience that information and really get the information, that get the details you need to run your business.
It's well said, man. I think, Eric, we're gonna kick it over to you for a demo now. But before we do that, I think just to set the table for the partnership, this wasn't something that originated in the last 3 months, 6 months. This is, we've been working with the Digits team for over 2 years now. We've invested a lot of resources, human capital, to work alongside them to help make sure we get the reporting right, we get the dashboarding right, we get the workflows right, so that this is something that we can bring to our clients and our future clients with next to no friction. Eric's worked extremely closely himself with this team. He probably knows the platform better than anybody on the Highline team right now, but that's because Eric's had a heavy hand in kind of some of the features that have been developed. So, Eric, why don't you take us away, man, and show us the good stuff.
Thanks, Matt. Hey, everyone. Just to remind you, I'm Eric Cohen, head of technology. We're going to demo our sample company here, Wayne Enterprises in Digits.
Bad man.
I'm I'm really excited to go through all the number of game-changing features in Digits here, which allows you to interact with your financials like never before. There's going to be four main things that we're going to go through here. It's going to be the dashboard. Number two is going to be the Ask Digits, the AI chat. Three, the analysis tab. And lastly, we'll go through the reporting tab. So starting right here, we're on the home screen on our dashboard tab. Note that this has been custom built by Hiline and Digits for general use for our customers, but this is completely customizable. So if your business has a certain metric that they really want to look at, you could easily add that right onto this dashboard. And likewise, if there's something that doesn't mean is not important to you, we could easily remove it. So first, I want to draw your attention to the top here, to the income insights and expense insights. This is driven by AI, looking at the prior period that you're currently looking at, and basically giving you a write-up of what's actually changed. Note that you can change that prior period. Right now, it's looking at the prior month. Maybe you want to look at quarter or year or something different, and that would automatically flip and change for you. So these insights, all this is interactive. So let's say you want to know more about this expense of Bruce Wayne, right? So you could click right on it and it's going to pop up and show you that information of Bruce Wayne as a vendor. And then give you an AI written summary of, hey, you spent, 100% more, and that's due to this life insurance and key man insurance and some meals expense right at your fingertips, showing you that actual change, which is huge, unlike something you could ever do before. Next, I kind of want to bring your attention to like some of these widgets. Note right here, cash. You could easily open this up and see the different type of bank accounts and the flow of your cash. Also, there's runway. Note right here, this demo instance, we're profitable. However, you may be a startup or pre-revenue, and runway is a huge thing, and you want to know if you have 6 months of runway left. So really, really cool feature. Or maybe runway is not important to you at all. Literally just come into this edit, come over here, hit delete, and one less metric that you have to look at. So really, really interesting. Matt, you got something?
I was gonna ask you a question, yeah.
Yeah,
So,
no.
Eric, on the dashboard feature, right? So the dashboard, is it like, what about the dashboard is able to bring you, like, real-time information about your business? Is that the place to go to find that?
100%. So if you literally just come in and you click on today, what that's going to do is give you what your month to date information is real time. It's within 5 minutes of what's in QuickBooks. So on average, it takes 5 minutes to sync over. So you could see exactly how you're performing currently today versus, again, waiting 45 days from the first of the month to see that.
Yep.
Last one to just bring up, top customers, top vendors. What I love about this tile here is that not only is it showing you the top, but it's also indicating, Catwoman here, you did 2.2 million in the month, but that's actually down 400K from prior month, where, this vendor customer Two Face, you did almost 1.8 million, but it's the same as last month. So again, quickly able to see that information. And same concept over here on your vendors. If you are one of those companies in QuickBooks where your entity has class tracking, you could also see that breakout of class tracking right here on your dashboard and how profitable each of your classes are doing. The next thing I want to bring up is the Ask Digits. But before I kind of talk about Ask Digits, what I really want to mention is obviously everyone's top of mind about data security. Super, super important. And Rob, please keep me honest here.
Yeah.
But Digits has a proprietary AI and machine learning technology that is never shared externally. And what that means is it's not being shared with a chat GPT or Gemini. It's all internal, which is extremely important when you're talking about data security. It is also SOC 2 Type 1 and 2 compliant, as well as the web app is secure with data encryption. So very, very important when you're
Important
playing with
stuff.
any AI
And
tools.
and maybe just to layer in a little bit more there, Eric, how important of a distinction this is, because there is actually, especially in these new waves of companies, there's going to be a bunch of folks coming out saying we can automate this or we can automate that. And while that's great, we want to like enable deeper innovation and like pushing the market forward. At the end of the day, your business data is valuable. It's also kind of like private to you, and you want to work with your trusted partners on that data. And there's a lot of folks in the market who are basically just taking financial data, shipping it all to Chat GPT and saying like, hey, give us some information about this. And the downstream of that is your financial data then ends up in a place that is much less secure and also is like used for training materials and things like that. And so what Digits has a deep focus on, and again, is why our background in machine learning comes so much into play here, is that so many of our models, not only have we built them internally, or adopted a public model and trained our own versions of it, we have also taken security into place when we interact with the public models as well. And so there's probably a lot we can dive into specifically around security, but what we take it very, very seriously, the complexity of the data that's being shared, but also the security of it, that it stays inside of our own platform.
Absolutely. Love it. All right. Let's actually see this thing work, right? What were our top spend vendors in 2024? And just like that, boom, you have a full write-up of what your top vendors were right there. And let's double click a little bit further. Let's say, how much did I spend with Lucius Fox over the last 3 months? And now you see a breakout right there. And let's say this was really important to me, and I don't want to keep asking this question time over time because I want to track how much I spend to this vendor all the time. What you could actually do right here is grab this tile and just drop it right into your dashboard, and boom. Now you could
Yeah.
track this every single time going forward.
Yeah, this like replaces like I can't like I gotta imagine everybody watching right now is like at least I mean asking their accountant, bookkeeper, whatever, at least once a week, if not multiple times a week, like questions about certain things that are happening. It's a waste. It's a waste of your time to have to ask that and like get a spreadsheet back or something that's not like easy to ingest. Like this just helps you get a lot smarter and a heck of a lot faster.
Yep, love it. Ask Digits currently is on a V1, which Rob, you could probably speak about this better than I can, but it's trained not to answer. Like one of the biggest things with chatting with AI is it hallucinates sometimes and gives you kind of like weird answers. So basically, Digits has dialed it down to make sure it only gives you appropriate answers and might answer, hey, we can't do that right now. But with all that information, we're collecting that. And that's going to help build what V2 and V3 are ultimately going to be out shortly.
Great call, Eric. And just to lean into that, as we developed this product, we wanted to make sure, I'm sure everyone's seen the stories in the news of like Microsoft's chatbot starts asking people on dates. So there's quite a few ways that these things can go off the rails. And so what we've done is really intentionally built guardrails around what it can and cannot answer. And we will start to iterate more and more on that over time as we enable it with a deeper level of understanding around the finances and expand the capabilities of what it can answer as well.
All right. Next, I want to move over to the analysis tab. One of my favorite spots if you want to kind of deep dive into either your expenses or revenues. So note right up here, you kind of start off, do you want to look at expenses and or revenue? I'm going to start with expenses. And then basically we break this out in 4 different categories: your overview, your categories, vendors, and transactions. Starting with the overview here, kind of see a breakout by month of all your expenses over time. Again, if you switch this to years, what that's now going to do is kind of show you your expenses year over year. I'm going to go back to months, but it's going to give you this little AI write-up of just giving you like, did you know of, hey, what's changed month over month, and some of the things that you probably should be made aware of. Note that there's also these highlights right here, kind of giving you the largest categories, which is your GL accounts, top vendors, and transactions. Again, notes showing you the change month over month as well. And maybe you want to just kind of hyper focus on what accounts have been growing or likewise shrinking. Next, I'm going to flip over to the categories. These are your GL accounts. You can kind of view how much you spent, what's changing again in the GL accounts month over month, the percent change, number of transactions. Some people really prefer seeing this in kind of like more of that graph looking type of view as well. And then one of my favorite views here is by vendor. So now you could see all your vendors that you're paying to lined up by dollar amounts, how many transactions in the given month, how that changed month over month as well. So obviously see here, Fox went up, 200K over last month. There was 24 different transactions here versus Augusto payroll. That's stable over last month as well. So awesome feature with all this to kind of dive into the details. There's also the transactions. If you want to really go down into the weeds, you could really see every single transaction that's out there. And then likewise, on the flip side, you could look at revenue, right? Same concept, getting your insights about all the revenue changes, categories, customers, vendors, looking at GL accounts, what's changed month over month, what, by transactions and dollar amount. And here are all my customers. Catwoman is our top customer still, but that, went down 16% versus Two-Face that's stable. And if you want to even drill down more, you could click right into Catwoman and see how much this customer we've made month over month, as well as getting those insights, seeing what decreased and changed. So really cool analysis there, tab. Love it. Rob, anything I missed on that analysis tab you feel like?
No, I'm just always interested in, what Catwoman is spending money on. So
Yeah.
rare, I did see one question in chat that probably related to this. It might have been on the dashboard. I thought it would probably be good to speak to. Chris asked if you can develop your own widgets or is there a library to pick from? The answer is that right now we have a library of a ton of widgets. So Eric, if you were to navigate to the dashboard and hit the edit button in the top right, that shows a whole library of different widgets that you could potentially look and see and poke through. Right now, we do not have an ability to customize like a KPI that you might want to utilize, but that's something that's on our roadmap that we'd want to build out, Chris. So it's something you can work with. I think I see Katie responded to your thread. You could work with Katie to understand what exactly you might be looking for from a custom KPI or what you might want a widget to show if you can't find it. And in that world, Katie can provide that information back to Digits, and it creates a great kind of like synergistic building of the roadmap so we can achieve things that work both for you, Chris, and for the Hiline team.
Love it. Thanks,
All
Rob.
right. Eric, let's
All
keep
right.
rolling into reports, man.
Yeah. Last but not least, reports. Reports are built for Bob. Bob really wants his P&L, right? He's stuck with his P&L, needs to see a P&L. But what I love about reports is this is a P&L souped up like you've never seen before. P&Ls historically, flat PDF report or maybe in Excel, not dynamic, one dimensional. What's different here is that this is very interactive. So here, where you see your normal executive summary, you actually could hover over this information. And now what that's going to do is give you an AI insight of your sales as I'm hovered over. And you could see how you did year to date, AI insight over the overview, who some of those top customers were, or some of those top transactions. And you could kind of hover over each one of these things and see that information, which is, again, mind blowing. Kind of just going down a little bit more, again, you're going to get similar to the dashboard, you're just written out insights about income and expenses. And then kind of like, really driving this home in your P&L, you could, collapse this, look at this, in the middle, or just, really blow this out and hover and discover all these different things. One of my favorites, like, let me get a good example here. If you were looking at your insurance, you could just click right on this, dive right into insurance and see, hey, what the heck happened in May? Click on May and say, oh, it went up 6x due to Farmers Insurance Group. And what the heck happened in November? Click right on it, and the AI is giving you a written description immediately on what's actually changed. And all the information below it of those exact transactions are sitting right there. So, where before you had a flat PDF and you're like, hey, why the heck did insurance expense go up? Well, now you just have to click on it and it's going to tell you exactly what changed. Back into reports here, just kind of rounding this out, we have a balance sheet where again, you could hover and discover all these different things as well, expand and contrast, a cash flow statement, a breakdown of all your revenue, and lastly, a breakdown of all your expenses. And again, you could click into any of these things and dive further into the details. So that is my demo. Rob, you feel like I missed anything on that one?
No, Eric, I think you did a great job. There's obviously going to be things as we work together with the Hiline kind of like customer base that come up that a business owner might want or someone in the Hiline team might want that we can kind of like look to build into our roadmap and think about things as well.
Yep.
So,
Yep, that's right on, Eric. I think you nailed it. Yeah, I think this to kind of wrap it up, and then we'll go into Q&A, guys. Like someone explained professional services to me recently, and it resonated to me. So like, there's three buckets of value that professional services historically provided. One is knowledge, which got commoditized by Google a long time ago. You can't really charge for that. The second is insights, which is getting commoditized right now by AI. And the third is strategy. And strategy is never going to go away. I think the first two, knowledge and insights, is being replaced by the ability to manage financial systems and understand how data flows between those systems to ensure that you can get real time information and insights about your business. And that same strategy and same theory should apply to every area of your company. So I think what the modern finance professional is going to have to do, there's two key skills: a conductor of data and systems and understanding how they integrate together. You can't break the data. Every time an accountant books a journal entry, they're breaking your data integrity and they're limiting your ability to get insights about what's actually happening. And the second is leveraging those insights to actually be able to focus on strategy and advisory, which I would say simply is the ability to focus on solving what your actual pain points are in your business, and the fundamental reason that you picked up the phone, emailed, submitted requests for demo. That's our job. So here at Highline, we're here to try to make your back office operational system function a heck of a lot better so that we can spend more time actually trying to solve your pain points. So this quote here is from a recent sales call, actually, with a prospect, where we're starting to demo digits to everybody that kind of comes knocking. And the quote was, I've been struggling with this for weeks, trying to piece it all together. This is exactly what I needed. It just makes everything click. And what they were referencing was all of the pieces and components of their business, the financial parts, they were able to kind of see it all in one place. And again, we're making digits available as table stakes to every client who signs with Highline and every existing client that we have. And this is probably just the first inning of our partnership where we have aspirations to take this a heck of a lot farther. But again, we appreciate you all joining today. We're excited about the future. And let's jump into Q&A. We got a couple questions in the chat. So let's start. So Chris Mosa, we know that guy. Chris is with one of our friendly companies, Graphite. Chris is asking if there's an ability to bring in non-accounting system data, specifically speaking to things like ARR and some SaaS type metrics. Rob, you want to take that one? And
Yep.
maybe you're speaking more towards like longer term roadmap stuff.
Yep, definitely. And so this actually does speak to the longer term roadmap, but it speaks into a core area that we've been actively building out, which is bringing in data sources by through direct connection directly into Digits and building that out. So in that world, what that would look like is being able to go connect to your bank accounts, credit cards, payroll systems, revenue systems like Stripe, and be able to pull all of that in automatically, similar to how QBO has a bank feed. But in that world, this wouldn't be rules based; it would be machine learning based. So you're not having to manage hundreds of rules all across your system to make sure you're booking everything correctly, because ultimately that means you're still doing the work, trying to define some creative rule of like it starts with CO and ends with STO. It must be Costco, you know? And so in that world, that just, there's so many different ways for that to break down. And so what we want to do is apply this machine learning into that bank feed. So in that world, that's going to be a bunch of outside connections of data. So just focusing on ARR, because that's in the example here, we've already built out a baseline connection into Stripe. And so if a company works with Stripe, you can then bring in that data directly into Digits, and then what it will do is automatically book it appropriately within the product. Matt, you had talked about before how sometimes like the data integrity sometimes gets lost when you have to do these bulk journal entries. Stripe ARR is a great example of something like that, where what the future is going to look like here is that you're not limited by the technology and the software around volume. Right now, if you have more than, let's say, like 100 transactions a day pumping into Digits through your revenue tool, you're going to break QuickBooks. It's going to get slow, clunky, and not be able to work. That is not going to be the future of what our technology stack ultimately looks like at Digits. But the other side of it is because QuickBooks gets slow and clunky, everyone puts together large kind of like bulk journal entries. But that then removes all the visibility into your sales and your process. And so the future of all this is going to look like, how do we have full fidelity data flowing into the ledgering system that then allows you to actually get the questions you have answered, versus we talked about in the very beginning, everything comes full circle where it's like I have to download data from all these different places and then pivot table it in Excel to get the answers. That should be able to be possible just within your ledgering database, and that's what Digits is ultimately looking to build out.
Yeah, and I'll just maybe reframe that and say it a different way. I mean, data integrity is everything, right? So I very infrequently do we start working with a new client who has a clean CRM. Most data sources at most subscale companies need a lot of work and cleanup, which is something that we strive to want to be able to help figure out and streamline as well. Where it's more possible that I think this can be done in automated ways, like build revenue. You could probably get some indication of ARR from build revenue, but it's actually probably not the best way to do it. You should actually get it from the CRM. But a lot of that depends on how good the RevOps function is in the company too. But the same principles we're applying to finance, well, I'd say accounting centrically, those can be applied to other areas of the business too, to eventually get to the point where this is all available. Every key financial metric and also every key business metric. But we're it's going to take some time to get all the way there. All right. We have a couple more questions. Liz is asking, how far back can you see historical data? Rob or Eric?
I was going to say as far back as it exists in QuickBooks, basically. Eric, feel free to layer in, but we pull in every single transaction down to the transaction level, not just the category level within QuickBooks, to help you visualize it and understand what's going on. And that will give you kind of like full fidelity on top of your business. And you can
Yeah, I think
customize reports in a bunch of different ways to see what it looks like.
Yeah, so if you have like 10 years of data, it's going to show you 10 years of data right into your report if you're looking at things annually.
Yep. And I'm gonna go to the next question, which I think speaks to this a little bit. So anonymous, how long does it take to set up digits in Highline? I'll speak to the digits part. I watched Jeff do a demo once upon a time where, and Jeff Seibert's the CEO and founder of Digits. He essentially integrated quick 10 years worth of QuickBooks data with Digits, and within like seconds automatically generated all the dashboards and reports with that data, leveraging their AI. So the ability, like the time to value to get your information in digits is almost instantaneous. So it's like you want to sign up with Highline, like you're going to get that within the first few days to a week of engaging with us. The data integrity can take longer. So we typically at Highline, we have like a 30 to 45 day onboarding process. Evaluating data integrity is part of that. So you can get access to it. Can't speak to the shape and condition of your data when you get to us, but we'll work together to make sure that we get it cleaned up and stood up within 30 to 45 days. Could take longer if there's a lot of historical cleanup, but that's a pretty good barometer. Sylvia is asking, from a Highline employee perspective, can you have your own customized dashboards for each of your clients, or do you have to change widgets manually each time you are looking at a different client? Eric, I'm going to maybe let you start with how we've built this out for our team. Mainly, like we have templates that we're using and then customizing them with our clients beyond that. But you want us to go deeper into it?
Yeah, exactly. So the answer to that is for all of our customers, we start with a general template that I kind of showcased on that demo. However, from there, it's about customizing it for each individual instance to make sure that it makes the most sense for that customer at the end of the day. So basically, everyone starts at the same starting point for us, but then it's about customizing it from there, either adding or removing.
Rob, anything you want to add to that, man?
I think you generally covered it. I think what Eric kind of had mentioned, that you've set up with those core templates, that basically what won't happen is if you edit one on one company, it'll edit the another company. Every company is a bespoke instance. Over time, this speaking to some of the future roadmap, is that we will allow even maybe customization of multi-dashboard situations inside of each client as well. So as a company grows, maybe they want a dashboard for their marketing team. Maybe they want a dashboard for their end product and engineering team. And so that'll continue to evolve on that front as well to give you a little bit more customization on how you want to view the data.
And if you want to learn more, our team was kind enough to drop this Get Started with Highline hyperlink right in the upper right-hand corner of the screen. So if you want to learn more beyond today and beyond the Q&A, by all means, we'd love to chat with you. But I think we covered most of the questions. We had a lot of similar ones. But again, everybody, like, thank you for your interest. Thank you for your curiosity. We're excited about what we're launching with Digits. And we're excited to kind of be on the bleeding edge and pioneering what, accounting and finance in the modern world should look like. And we're here to kind of take that risk with you, take that burden on. And we're excited about what we're building. So we'll talk to y'all soon. Thank you very much.
Thanks, everyone.
Take care.